People will typically flat out say, no, I'm not trying radio. But then the companies that do try radio in conjunction with other things absolutely dominate over the ones that are telling you, no, I'm not doing this. I'm staunchly against that. Patrick, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Good, man.
It's a damn tundra out there. I feel like we're in Siberia right now. Have you seen outside?
Can you see the wind is insane
No,
today.
I'm looking up at the trees, and I'm like, I should not be standing here right now. Seriously, like it's nasty outside.
Yeah.
I know that maybe someone watching this in Louisiana is like, I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Don't slip on any ice out there or anything like that.
No, I told you, you got to clean that spot underneath your downspout. I told you, I almost fell on my ass when I went out last night.
I can't get up on the gutters. Like I can't. I'm terrified of heights. I won't get up there.
We talked about that too. I'm the same way, man. If I'm even like 2 stories up, if I go like on a roof and I looked over to the side, my stomach drops, my hands I'm getting clammy just thinking about it right now. Heights. We went out to Utah, and I forget what it was. There was a place called Angel's Landing. It's like the most dangerous place to hike, and the path is like this wide. And as you go up, there's poles in the rocks, and there's chains that you can hang on to. And I'm thinking, when was the last time this thing was maintained?
Yeah.
And at the bottom of it, there is and I think I've mentioned this before, there's a dry erase board of the number of people who have died there. So a dry erase board, I mean, out of convenience, I'm thinking, because they might need to change it that day.
this many days
since an accident. So Kim and the boys go up, and I'm like, I'll stay down here and make sure Iris is okay. Trying to be magnanimous about it. I'm like, I'll babysit Iris. You guys go ahead. I'd love to go.
Yeah.
But no, I'm the same way. Before we continue, are we going to pretend that
it's our guy?
There he is.
So we had him with us when we started at Laser 99.3. Yeah. However, I mean, how many? It's been a long time. 6 or 7 years, something like that. I think probably right closer to 7 years almost.
Right.
We've been sitting down talking about nonsense.
We had him in the studio just for no real reason other than, and we got comments on it. We never referred to him when he was there.
We had all kinds of goofy stuff there that like sometimes people would pick out. We had the Hoff. Where's the Hoff? We had an autographed picture of the Hoff.
Oh gosh, that's right. I've got that at the station. I'll bring him in for the next podcast.
Yeah, we had an autographed picture of the Hoff. Tell us that he loved the show.
But I think I might have written that too. By the way, I don't know.
So while we're on the topic of radio, we get a lot of questions surrounding radio. And so what I want to do today is take a minute to kind of talk about radio and the importance of radio and the reach of radio in regards to creating a full overreaching advertising plan, right? A marketing plan. Yeah. And so marketing ultimately, I guess everybody has a different definition for that, but like marketing is ultimately everything that we do, anything that anybody sees or hears, or, and whether that's verbally, audibly, your shirt, your hat, like everything, and so I've always felt that radio really works well for our businesses, especially in local markets, because you get a tremendous amount of reach, and it seems to work really, really well in conjunction with other forms of advertising, right? Yes. It's another touch. And, I think one of the things on this show is that you don't ever talk about yourself enough. And you never toot your own horn. You never talk about you, but you are kind of a big deal, right? You have one of the top radio shows in probably the state, definitely our entire market. Your afternoon show is incredible. The Mass Broadcasters Association has recognized you how many times now?
A couple times, yeah.
Mass Broadcasters Association. Yeah, that's no small deal.
I mean, that really speaks to how you go about it. People, I think, in this world where we have so much new technology and almost, daily, weekly, people get attracted to the new shiny thing, and they forget about the things that are true and tried, right? The truth is, radio reaches over 90% of people in America every single week. That's just a fact. It's a mass media, and it's effective to reach those people if you fashion your message correctly. If you are consistent over time, like anything, we've talked about this, a relationship, a job, marketing, it's consistency over time. You're going to win eventually. So radio for me, particularly when I'm sitting down with someone who is considering coming on the air, right? I never go to somebody and say, "Hey, would you like to come on the radio?"
Yeah,
You know, that
it's
is
true. Yeah.
what no. So my first step in any of it is talking to the person about their business. I don't need to know the nitty gritty details of their business, but I want to know what they're trying to accomplish. I want to know um, in the market they're in, what are they trying to accomplish? What are their pain points? What are the parts of the business that we could shine a spotlight on so that things might become more profitable for them? And part of that, when you walk in, is, like I said, I don't want to know about all the details of the business, but what I can do very objectively is put myself in a customer's shoes. And that's how I kind of see myself when I first meet them. I look around. A lot of it for me is almost, you're not just trying to, get them to advertise, but you're a business consultant. If you go into a business and there's something that's visually off or off-putting, you need to be able to say that, and you need to be truthful about it. And some people, they're not willing to listen to that.
But how do you approach that, right? That's a really good point. How do you approach that? Because that was one of the most challenging things that I had when I started becoming a business development coach almost 10 years ago, was how do you tell somebody what you're doing is wrong, or listen, there's a better way, because people spend so much time and energy on their business that there's a lot of ego wrapped into that. How do you go into their business, Pat, and tell them that they need to change their message?
Well, like you said, there's a lot of ego in there, and I think anyone who's going to be effective in business has to be very proud of what they do. And it's hard. I've never said to anyone, I don't think, what you're doing is wrong. But what I'll say is, have you thought about doing this? I'll give you a good example of a guy. And this was a guy that told me that radio didn't work after the promotion was over. It was a bar, and we had a Monday Night Football promotion, and it was a great promotion. It was, I think it was 6 weeks in a row. And each week we'd have a prize, a good one. And then the last week we had like a grill. It was like a big thing. So Monday Night Football, come out to the bar. We have food specials. We're giving stuff out. And the first night we slammed it, completely packed. And then the next night, the next week, the following Monday, you could see that people had kind of trickled off. And then the next week they trickled off even more. And the problem with that relationship with this particular bar is the bar looked like shit. It was visibly dirty. It was one of those bar owners who would sit in his sweatpants, and not like from 1970s sweatpants, at the bar and just watch his employees. So by the end of this thing, there were very few people showing up. And the guy was like, "Oh, radio doesn't work." And I said to him, "No, radio works. We brought people to you. You didn't retain them.
Yeah.
You, this business, didn't keep them coming back." And that's a mistake a lot of people make, is they think that we're going to somehow take people by the hand and bring them to the business and then keep them there. Radio puts you basically on a stage. I like to think of it as, if you're on a stage in front of 5,000 people, lights are on you, you got the microphone, what are you going to say? What are you going to say about your business? What's your call to action going to be to get people to come to your business? What's your follow-up calls to action going to be to keep those people coming back to your business? And when they come, what's their experience going to be? All of this is important. I had a guy tell me, "I don't believe radio works." And I said, I can prove to you that it will work in 10 seconds if you're willing to lose $100. And he said, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, because here's what I'll do. I'm going to go on the air, and I'm going to say the next person that calls your business, and I'm going to give out your number, wins a crisp $100 bill." And he said, "Well, that's not fair. That's not..." You just said it didn't work. Radio reaches people.
How quick did you do it?
No.
Somebody would have called in 10 seconds.
Of course they would.
Yeah, 10 seconds.
So now, in fairness, I probably would have said in the break before that, in 5 minutes, I'm going to give you a phone number that will make you $100. And then that would keep the listeners, right? And then the next time I came on, I would drop the bomb. So really, 15 seconds.
I think for me, what I find when I talk to people is people will regularly say, radio doesn't work, I'm not even interested in it. Radio doesn't work. Nobody listens to radio anymore.
Oh.
And for that, I can tell you that we talk all the time about data and how we use data to create whatever plan that we're moving forward with. And if you are part of our organization, then you are data driven as well, right? You're personality driven. You need to know the people. You have to be involved and invested in the people. And we have to genuinely want to sell the product that they're providing, right? We have to know that they're the best. And then we have to use data to shape our message. And it is very clear and clear cut that radio works well for us and all of our businesses when paired with other things. Like radio alone cannot be your only method of advertising, just as social media is not your only method of advertising. Or if you're still, you're putting ads in local newspapers, that is not your only thing. A banner, you don't just go and rent a building or buy a building and put a sign on top and then say that you've marketed your business. You have to advertise on radio, social, web, paid ads, newspapers, and you still have to go out there and you have to shake 10,000 hands. At minimum, you have to shake 10,000 hands and then come and tell me that it doesn't work. It's part of a marketing plan.
Yeah, people make connections, right? Like you said, you've got to be seen everywhere. It can't be one spot. It can't be on at a diner on the placemat only. It can't be in the free local paper only. It can't be radio only, in my opinion. But like you said, there's got to be a familiarity where people will make the connection. Oh, holy shit, that guy that I just heard on the radio is the same guy I'm seeing on TV right now, and the post that I just saw. So now they learn about the business, and now it's kind of become part of their psyche. So you're right. Radio is very effective. It should be part of a bigger plan.
One of the things that we see too is that when not so much companies that we own and control, for lack of a better word, but companies that we just kind of work with, right? They'll come to us for certain things. Everything that we do is ultimately to provide solutions for different businesses, but over time, we've needed a larger sample audience than of companies that we own so that we can test a lot of these different things. And what we find is that people will typically flat out say, no, I'm not trying radio. But then the companies that do try radio in conjunction with other things absolutely dominate over the ones that are telling you, no, I'm not doing this. I'm staunchly against that.
Right.
And I don't know how many people have sat in that chair. Brian Miles was here yesterday. Brian is a retired military combat medic. Great dude, right? Not a businessman, but he's used to managing people. One of the things that he was very, very adamant about when he was here was he talked about, if you are going to continuously just keep doing the same thing over and over and never try to innovate, you are definitely 100% setting yourself up for failure.
You are. It blows my mind when I see the number of people who are consistently on the radio. And consistent is the important part here.
Consistency. Yeah.
Even when you look at some of the restaurants that are currently advertising on our radio station, it's the same restaurants. And then you go to somebody else, be like, hey, would you like to advertise? Oh no, I can't afford it. It's too much of an expense. It's not an expense, it's an investment.
Yeah.
Like anything, it's an investment. If you want to see immediate results, let's get back to the $100 thing. I'll show you. You want immediate results? Give out a free grill to the next person that calls you.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It baffles me. It really does when I think about it. But a lot of it's the messaging as well, in your message and what you're delivering to the marketplace.
Pat, that's what I want to talk about next time we get together.
Okay.
Is I want to talk about the messaging. And here at Lotus, we have a very specific way of creating that message, and you are a tremendous part of that. You're a huge part of how we shape that message. And I don't think that people realize how much time goes into that. It's not about building an ad and writing down what a company does. And so I'm hoping that maybe we could talk about that on the next the next podcast.
I will agree to do that only if Beebs can join us.
You want Beebs to join us? You're so crazy.